Tell me what I forgot so far. I know we're not even halfway through the year, but what did I forget? Chapman yelling at Casey Schmitt. Adames forgetting the outs. The mix-up in the bullpen when nobody was warming up. Devers doesn't want a pinch runner. Eldridge call-up that was mangled, according to a lot of fans. The recent Pride Night blow-up. 4 errors on Saturday. There were a few more that I'm missing, I think. But I can't quite remember. The communication issues, et cetera. The reality of the situation.
The third base debacle, you got a new
third base coach.
Yeah.
Thank you. Third base coach.
Yeah.
Third base coach fired. Hold on, let me write that down. Right. And here's the way I look at it. And the way I look at it is, while nobody could have predicted the specific problems or the specific things, like a Devers not wanting a pinch runner or Adames losing track of the outs or Chapman's frustration, the reality is you have a first-year manager with an inexperienced president, and it is showing, and it's showing frequently. There is, when you hired Tony Vitello to manage this team, and this team's got Chapman, Adames, and Devers on it, you had to be aware that there was going to need to be some respect built between those two groups. And it just feels like there just never was. The Giants, with a bunch of veteran guys, hired an inexperienced manager, and I'm not going to sit here and say they don't like him or they can't stand him. I don't think it's that at all. I just think that Posey sent a message to the team. And the message was, we've got an inexperienced manager and we've got a veteran team. And you know what, guys? Figure it out. Because I don't get the sense Posey's a great communicator either.
Well, wow.
And he never was as a player, ever. He led by example. That's what he did. He was not a big talker. And I get the sense that he's more of an observer than he is a leader at this point for the Giants.
Nah, man. And you know what? The only thing you forgot about there was Logan Webb and Vitello in regard to him coming out the game. You might have mentioned that.
No, I forgot.
Steiny, I'll say this because you brought up something that hit me. The Department of Justice, the DOJ, is now involved or looking into what happened with Pride Night and the Giant players. But I'm going to just put that under this umbrella from the Giants standpoint, and they have to own it. And I thought it was a bad look. And optics, communication, that's the key. But at every turn this year, I was the guy that thought Bomel was the problem in regard to the manager. I think a manager needs balls. You have to have the cojones to check and treat the star player just like you do the last the last man on the bench. And yesterday, after defending Tony Vitello and saying, you know what, he just inherited a mess, I just felt like he was neutered. He had to show or just say something for me personally. I'm being selfish. Call me Devers. Hey, that's not Giant baseball. You know, I made a decision. We made a decision. He should have came out of the game. I'm embarrassed for the team, the fans. That won't happen again, and I'm going to talk to Devers. But to go up there and recite how many times you guys talk on the phone and how cool you are, and then to use the example of Webb, your best pitcher, not wanting to come out of a game and give it up to a raggedy bullpen, to me is night and day. Shout out Al B. Sure, night and day different than Devers, who I think is slow, not the fastest, to come out the game because you need somebody to steal a bag. How dare you wave your finger at your organization and your manager? So I'm just telling Tony Vitello, who's not asking, you might think you're cool, but that dude doesn't think you're cool because he didn't give a damn about you when he embarrassed not just you, his teammates and the organization, and Buster Posey, for that matter, to not get checked pulling that stunt yesterday. And again, I shout out Bonte and Rich Aurelia for keeping it real on what they saw. I can't remember this happening, but nobody, and Devers didn't even speak, not even his interpreter, but Tony Vitello's going to say, nothing to see here. We talk every night right? And that's leadership. That is not leadership. And now I question everything. Well, wasn't a good hire? Now I need to give you $20 for that bet. This thing is done. And not only is it bad baseball, it's not run right. And I don't believe the vets are in. And I wish Webb would have said something to Devers. Jeff Kent would have said something. Barry might have said something. Pete Rose would have said something. But just for that to go unchecked, it just stinks, man. It really does, Donnie. And I want Devers out of here.
I mean, okay. Who wants Devers? Who would want Devers? Again, like, I'm not blaming Tony Vitello at all. How did you expect Tony Vitello to manage Rafael Devers? I mean, or Chapman, or Adames for that matter.
Like your best player at Tennessee. When it's time or to be checked, Donnie, you got to have a conversation.
So why did you hire Tony Vitello? Again, stop asking Tony Vitello to be a 10-year veteran manager. Like the idea that he's going to come in here and start cracking skulls, that's not Posey's style anyway. Like, Posey didn't want a manager that was going to get into guys' faces. And if he did, well, maybe he picked the wrong guy.
I feel like you're describing a substitute teacher. Like,
I don't know why.
Vitello's got to wait 10 years before he can check a player.
Why did why was he hired? If you thought this was going to... Look, you know what pisses me off is when you hire a guy like Tony Vitello and then people say the obvious, that he's coming from a college environment and now he's going to have to manage guys that make hundreds of millions of dollars, and people say, that's going to be an adjustment, and then when it's an adjustment, everybody can't understand why it's happening, and everybody knew at the time it was going to be different. It was going to be different. Buster Posey hired a rookie manager, a guy who had never managed in the big leagues. And for whatever reason, like, we thought that the Giants were a contender. Like, why did he hire this manager?
For the life of me, partner, I can't get in his mind. But I thought he thought the guy had the wherewithal to do the job. And I understand what you're harping on with the lack of experience, but it's baseball. One of the jobs, one component to the job is when one of your players, and I'm going grade school here, is cutting up or acting up, you got to bring the hammer.
I'm going to tell you something right now. Let me tell you what Tony Vitello better not do. He better not take Devers out of the lineup tomorrow.
No, I was just going there.
He better not.
He can't be in there.
So let me tell you something.
He can't be in there.
Let me tell you something.
I was going there, Steiny.
Let me tell you something.
He can't.
If he takes Devers out of the lineup after Chapman MFs Casey Schmitt, after Adames forgets the outs, after what was the other thing that happened with one of the pitchers? Something happened with if he's not going to take out Ramos and Jung-Hoo Lee and those guys when they can't come up with a regular fly ball in the outfield, I dare you. Hey, I dare you, Tony Vitello, to take Devers out of the lineup tomorrow.
You want to make a bet?
You go ahead.
Go
ahead and make an example out of Devers. You watch you watch what happens now.
But okay, let's forget what's going. Let first 1 second forget if he's sitting or not. Don't you think what he did, the infraction, is worthy of being out the lineup?
I don't know. I don't know.
Logan Webb would give us. Did you see?
I don't know what the rules are
Cox
with this team.
And Chapman were talking after the game. When you always talk about Dunleavy and Green after the Phoenix game, the playing game, the no words. I ran it back. I was just studying it. They were talking about something, and I got to believe. Can you believe this guy? The inning was over once that happened.
Well, that's not his fault. That's the two batters after him and Jonah Cox not stealing. I get it. Don't tell me Jonah Cox can't steal because he was so shaken up that Devers said, don't pinch run for me.
Well, you're the guy
He's
that told
on first base.
What's the pitcher that hit the Marlin last year, cost him his career?
Oh, so he can't
What's my
steal?
guy's name?
Okay, so you really believe that Jonah Cox was so shaken up
I do.
that he couldn't steal a base. This is what I mean. They've got bigger problems than Devers.
The dugout was shook to send him.
Yeah.
It might have not been up to Cox to get sent.
Well,
I'm just telling you, I believe that something happened and they were just stuck. What did Wemby say? It was just cloudy, and that's how I felt. That's why that base didn't get stolen.
Yeah. Rafael Devers doesn't want a pinch runner. He gets a pinch runner anyway, but the pinch runner's now shaken up. The fastest guy on the team, now he can't steal.
I'm hoping that was the case.
If that's the case, shame on Cox and Vitello.
Well, shame on them, everybody for not even stealing the bag.
Again.
And having to deal with this.
Today, we run Devers into the ground. But we're really mad at the entire situation because nothing's gone right.
But now, I believe we have an example of one of your
I believe we've had multiple. I think we've had a lot of leadership issues on this. I don't think they have leadership.
But never putting your manager on Front Street like I believe Devers did yesterday. He knew, he had to know, and didn't give a rat's ass, the fallout. He's probably home eating his cereal right now knowing, I let everybody know this thing ain't, we ain't playing good ball, but we ain't together, or I want up out of here.
Yeah.
And if somebody's coming at me on the text line, Stoney Goose, stop it, that didn't shake him. What if it wasn't up to him? I'm just thinking maybe the dugout was the Vitello was so mentally fried on what just happened that there was no go sign.
He forgot to send him?
No, not forgot. Like, whatever happened, it's still a blunder that there was no steal attempt.
Are you blaming Devers for Cox not stealing?
Yeah, I'm blaming the sideshow. Shout out Oakland. I'm blaming the sideshow for that base not being stolen. And I'm not putting it on Cox. We could put
put it on Vitello.
I put it on Devers. What are you doing, Stoney? Just think about why would he say he doesn't want a pinch runner?
Because he wants to stay in the game. Because he's thinking that the game was going to go into extra innings and he's going to lose at bats.
You have no stolen bases.
And neither did Cox.
In AAA.
So what? I mean, listen, again, I'm not standing up for Devers.
Right.
It's a circus, and he's just one of the animals.
I didn't know it was a circus like it is now. I saw a zebra.
The team has no lead.
I saw a zebra yesterday within the Giants. So you were already at circus. I was in denial. But I saw some clowns yesterday. The circus is in town, baby. And I think Ralphie, he was saying that to everybody. This ain't right. And that's why he just acted like a child. And then for your other coach to pat you on the ass, don't you dare touch me, that just reeks of, I wish I was in the dugout.
Why?
I would have said something.
No, you wouldn't have. Devers is the man. They're afraid of him, Goo.
See, and
it's just like Jimmy Butler and to a lesser extent Draymond.
Yes, that hurts me.
Nobody even knows who this guy is. He doesn't talk to anybody. He doesn't talk to the media.
So why are you afraid of him? And he ain't hitting 900 homers. He ain't Barry Bonds.